Commander Veltrix of the Zarnak Empire leaned forward in his seat, his golden armor shining under the cold lights of the command cruiser. Outside the large viewing screen, space stretched out like a dark ocean. Nothing moved. No enemy, no signal. No threat. Report, Veltrix said calmly. Still nothing, Commander, replied his second officer. Jarek, all systems show clear. No activity in the nearby sectors. It had been like this for centuries. Quiet, controlled. The Zarnak Empire ruled half the galaxy. The other half feared them or served them. Veltrix smiled. Good, peace through power. But just as he raised his hand to dismiss the crew, it happened. Every screen in the command center flickered and screamed. The alarms blared in a deep, painful pitch. Lights flashed red across the room. Officers jumped to their feet. Weapons. Systems lit up without command. Long-range sensors spun wild. What is this? Veltrix barked. One word appeared on every screen. Again and again. Returning. No coordinates. No signature. Just that single word, repeating endlessly through static. Veltrix's heart froze. Shut it off. Find the source? He shouted. Impossible. Sir, it's not coming from any known system, Jarek replied, sweat on his forehead. It's single quotes S. Everywhere. Every Zarnik ship in the galaxy is getting the same message. Another officer gasped. Sir, the encryption. It's Terran. Silence filled the command center. VELTR. Ike stood slowly, his eyes wide. Terran? That's not possible. The humans were wiped out. Earth is a graveyard. Not anymore, Jarek said quietly. They're coming back. 500 years ago, the Terrans were the only ones the Zarnak Empire could never fully conquer. They were wild, fierce, unpredictable. They didn't build big empires. They didn't control thousands of worlds. But when they fought like monsters. When Earth finally burned during the last Great War, the Zarnik believed they had won. The humans were scattered, their colonies destroyed. No signals, no survivors. Just ruins and ash. The galaxy moved on. And the Zarnak ruled unchallenged. Now, council chambers. Zarnak Prime, the High Council, gathered in panic. They had not met in full for over 100 years. But now, every seat was filled. Even the old warlords had returned. The signal had reached every military command, every trade port, every system under Zarnak rule, returning. Is it a trick? One counselor asked. No, said Veltrix, standing at the center. We ran deep scans. The signal is real. It is old Terran military code, but advanced. More advanced than anything we've seen before. Then Earth wasn't destroyed? Veltrix shook his head. We don't know, but the signal is strongest. Near one point. He tapped the star map. It zoomed in on a forgotten, lifeless system. Sol, the Terran homeworld. He said quietly. Scout mission. Edge of Sol System 3 Zarnak scout ships entered the system. Their black holes shimmered as they passed Pluto's frozen shell. They saw wreckage, dead satellites, broken stations. Old ruins of Terran history. Everything matched the stories. Earth had died until they reached Jupiter. That's when one ship disappeared. No explosion, no call for help. It was there 1 second and gone the next. The other 2 ships screamed warnings and turned to escape. But something stepped out from the shadow of the gas giant. A ship. Not Zarnik. Not from any known species. It was massive, over 20 kilometers long. Its shape was jagged, like it had been rebuilt many times. Its hull was blacker than space itself, with red lights running like veins across its surface. And on its side, in glowing silver letters, ancient Terran language. TSS Vingencia, voice echoed into every ship's system. Deep and cold. This system is under Terran protection. You were warned. Then it fired. Aftermath: only one ship made it back, half destroyed and barely holding together. Its crew was insane, screaming nonsense about ghosts in the stars and hell rising from Jupiter. The Council banned all missions near Sol. But the signal never stopped. Returning. The Zarnak fleets prepared for war. But deep down, they knew the galaxy had no equal. Until now. The Zarnak scout ship Vorax glided through the cold silence of space. It moved cautiously, its black hull absorbing the light of distant stars. The ship approached an old, forgotten system, a place known in ancient records as Sol. To most of the galaxy, Sol was just a myth, a dead system, burned in the final days of the Terran Wars. The planets were believed to be dust. Earth itself? Gone. But now something had changed. Commander Virel, a young officer with nervous eyes and sharp instincts, stood at the front of the scout bridge. He stared at the main screen, his forefingers tapping the edge of the console. "Report," he said calmly. The sensor officer, a pale-skinned Zarnak female, looked worried. "The signal is repeating every 11 seconds. It's getting stronger." Virel narrowed his eyes. "Any visuals?" "No, sir. Just static. But the signal is definitely from this system. It's coming from the third planet's orbit." Virel felt a chill. That would be Earth. The Vorax dropped out of warp near the ancient orbit of Earth. At first, there was nothing but black space. The planet itself was surrounded by clouds of dust, shattered rock, and debris. Some pieces were once satellites, others maybe ships. Everything was quiet. Then the screen flashed. A single object appeared, hidden inside the debris field. It was massive, motionless, half covered in broken metal and old defense rings. It looked like part of an asteroid, but it wasn't. It was a ship. "Bring it up," Virel ordered. The screen zoomed in. The object was smooth in parts, like armor. There were massive burnt-out thrusters on the back, markings on the side, ancient human text. One word: Hellspear. The bridge fell silent. The science officer whispered, "It's a Terran warship, class unknown. Looks older than anything on record." "It's sending the signal?" the sensor officer added. Virel stepped forward. "Scan it. Power levels, weapons, any signs of life." The results came back quickly, and they made everyone on board freeze. Power core active. Weapons offline, but responsive. Life signs unknown. Shielded. How is it active after 500 years? One crew member whispered. Virel didn't answer. He stared at the ship. His heart was racing. This ... could change everything. Back in the Zarnak High Command, the Council sat in silence. The report from Vorax had reached them. A Terran battleship. Active, hidden. The Council's High Speaker, Dronax, slammed a clawed hand on the table. "Send a fleet. Do not let it. Leave orbit. Destroy it if needed." But one voice spoke calmly. General Rether, the only Council member old enough to remember the Terran Wars. "Do not touch it," he said. "Not yet. If that ship is what I think it is, we need to be careful." "Why?" snapped Dronax. "It's just one ship." Rether leaned forward. "Because one Terran ship once destroyed an entire moon base. Alone, they don't build warships. They build monsters." On board the Vorax, something shifted. The Terran ship moved. Not fast. Just a small twitch, like it was waking up. Its lights flickered. Its ancient hull groaned. The static signal changed. The word returning was gone now. It said something else. Identify. Virel's hands shook. It's asking who we are. The crew stared at each other. Then, without warning, the Terran ship lit up. A deep red glow pulsed from within its engines. A low hum filled the void. Not loud, but powerful. Ancient power was flowing again. A Zarnek crew panicked. Should we run? Sir? Orders? But Virel didn't move. He just watched. The Hellspear, the ghost ship of Earth, was alive. High. Command sent 4 destroyers within hours. Each was armed with modern Zarnak weapons. Fast, agile, deadly dot, they surrounded the ancient ship and powered their weapons. Watched in silence. The Terran ship said nothing. No shields. No response. Just silence. Then, in one blink of time, everything changed. The Hellspear fired one shot. Just one. A blinding beam of blue-white energy, older than anything in the galaxy. It tore through the Zarnik flagship like paper. The other ships tried to move, but they were already burning. One ship escaped with heavy damage. The galaxy felt that ripple. A dead ship. From a dead race. Alive. Armed. And watching. The message returned once more. Now, it wasn't just broadcast locally. It spread. Through the stars. Across relays. Through old networks. Terran warship Hellspear. Operational. Returning to Earth. Do not interfere. The Zarnek scout ship Vortek glided silently into the edge of the Sol system. The crew stared out at the dark, dead star system. No planets glowed with life. No signals. No ships. Just silence. Cold, deep silence. Captain Yahan clicked his mandibles. Nervous. This system is dead. We should return, his second-in-command whispered, but Yahan shook his head. We follow orders. The signal came from here. From Sol 3, the old human homeworld. The ship moved slowly past Mars, then into Earth's orbit. The Earth was still there, blue and white. Calm. No weapons in orbit. No stations. No signs of life. That was a lie. As soon as the Vortek crossed into high orbit, something changed. The stars blinked. And the ship's sensors began to scream. Massive energy readings. Temperature spikes. Movement on the dark side of the planet. What is that? The sensor officer yelled. Earth's surface lit up like a war zone. Giant panels rose from the oceans. Mountains opened like mechanical jaws. Space itself rippled. Then, a shape emerged from Earth's shadow. At first, they thought it was an asteroid. But it moved too fast. It turned. It locked onto them. It's a warship, Yahan whispered. A human one. But it was wrong. Bigger than any Terran ship ever recorded. Sleek, black, covered in strange markings and glowing runes. The ship sent. No greeting. Only silence. Then, a single burst transmission hit the VOR single quotes tech. Text only. In perfect Zarnak language. Leave. Panic erupted on the bridge. Raise shields. Back away now. Too late. The Terran ship fired not with lasers or missiles, but with something new. A beam of light that bent space itself. It hit. Vortek mid-hull. The scout ship was cut in half. No explosion. No flame. Just silence. The remains of the Zarnak ship floated, broken, in orbit. On the Terran ship, lights flashed silently. Then it turned and vanished back into Earth's shadow. Hours later, Zarnak Empire High Command. The video reached Commander VELTR X. He watched it in silence. His hands trembled. The other council members spoke in hushed voices. This is not possible. That ship, it was not in any database. It was not from the past. It was built after the extinction. Earth is supposed to be dead. Veltrix stood up. Earth is not dead, he said coldly. They survived. In the shadows. They built something, and they waited. One of the younger generals asked, waited for what? Veltrix stared at the blinking message still echoing on their screens. Returning. He turned to the others. They are not just coming back, he said. They were never gone. We just forgot to fear them. The Zarnik scout ship Velzer hovered. Above the ruins of Pluto's orbital defense station, Commander Relf stood at the viewing screen, his eyes locked on the strange signal, repeating on all frequencies. The one word, returning, was still echoing through deep space. But now they were closer to its source. The Sol system was silent, too silent. No life on Earth. Mars is cold. No human colonies anywhere, said Officer Larth, checking. The long-range scans. It's all dead, Commander Relf nodded. Then why is the signal still active? As he said that, the ship's lights flickered. A dark shadow passed over the hull. Not every Zarnak officer on the bridge froze. Outside, something massive moved through the void. It wasn't on their sensors. It didn't show up on radar. But through the front viewport, they saw it. A battleship black, silent, covered in armor plates shaped like ancient Terran war markings. Its engines made no noise. It didn't send a signal, but it moved with purpose toward Earth. Get readings, Relf shouted. Now, it's not in our database, shouted Larth, panic in his voice. The design, it's Terran, but nothing like we've seen. No heat signatures, no known tech. Is it manned? I don't know. It's like the ship is sleeping, but awake. Then, a signal struck their ship directly. Not a weapon, something stranger. A message text formed on their screens. In every Zarnak dialect. We are the children of Earth. We remember. Do not follow. Do not touch. Do not interfere. This is your only warning. The message repeated once. Then the massive black ship vanished into subspace without using any known drive. It didn't warp. It didn't jump. It simply disappeared. Relf stared at the empty space. No ship can do that, he said quietly. Not even Zarnak High Fleet. Officer Lart's hands trembled as he leaned forward. Sir, this wasn't a ghost. This wasn't a relic. This ship was alive. 2 days later, Zarnak Council Chambers chaos. The Zarnak High Council screamed over each other. Holograms of the Terran signal flickered above their table. Images of the ghost ship hovered, enlarged and analyzed, but still unreadable. Emperor Valther stood in silence, watching. What should we do, Emperor? Asked General Tovak. That ship violated our borders. It ignored our warships. It did not ask permission. It did more than that, said Counselor Dresk. It warned us. That's not a random ghost. It's organized. It's military. And it's Terran. But Earth is dead, shouted another. They destroyed themselves. Then who sent the ship? Dresk whispered. The room fell silent. Emperor Valther finally spoke. Send the Sixth Fleet to Earth's orbit. He ordered. Full force. If there are humans left, we must know. Meanwhile, on the edge of the Sol system, another Zarnak scout ship approached Neptune. Inside, the crew saw something impossible. Neptune's moon, Triton, was gone. In its place floated a space station, the size of a city, cloaked, ancient, covered in deep markings. The same message pulsed from its core. Returning. Zarnak officers tried to hail it. No response. Then something happened that made the blood drain from their faces. Human face appeared on their screen. Old, pale, blue eyes glowing. The man wore a black uniform with golden trim. He spoke slowly, with power in every word. You should not have come. Earth remembers. Return to your empire or face what we became. Then the image vanished. And behind the Terran station, 4 more battleships uncloaked. Each one more terrifying than the last. Zarnak sensors shut down. Their engines froze. Weapons failed. The Terran ships didn't fire. They didn't need to. Their presence alone was enough. Back on Zarnak, Prime Emperor Valther held his breath. The Sixth Fleet had entered. Sol system. He waited for a report. 10 minutes. Nothing. 30 minutes. Static. 1 hour. Then Transmission incoming. A single video feed. The Zarnak Council watched in silence. On screen, a Terran battleship floating above Earth, glowing with energy. Then the camera moved. The Sixth Fleet destroyed. Thousands of ships, burning, floating in pieces. No signs of life. Then a new message appeared. We did not want this. Do not test us again. We are the silence after the storm. We are the Terrans. The feed ended, and the galaxy changed forever. The scout ship Zarkon 12 drifted near the edge of the Sol system. The wreckage of the first Zarnak ship still floated nearby twisted metal. No life signs. Inside the new scout ship, fear was thick. Lieutenant Varn looked at his captain. Sir, I think we should leave. Whatever destroyed the first team, it's still out there. Captain Serix didn't respond. His eyes were locked on the main screen. We're already here. Orders were to investigate, not run. The crew was quiet. Everyone felt it. The silence of the system wasn't natural. It was too still, too cold, too. Watch. Then the message came again, returning. But this time, something had changed. The voice had changed. It wasn't robotic. It wasn't static. It sounded human. Angry. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the scanner. Just one. Small. No movement. Just sitting near the third planet Earth. Captain Serix narrowed his eyes. Is that a ship? The sensors couldn't tell. The object wasn't giving off power. No energy signature. But its shape, it was long, flat, and massive. Half buried in the surface of Earth, like a sword stabbed into the planet. Lieutenant Varn gasped. Sir, I think that's not just a ship. That's a Terran dreadnought. Everyone froze. That class of ship had not been seen in over 500 years. It was believed none had survived the extinction of humanity. They were the stuff of war legends ships so powerful they could crack moons and punch through star bases. And now, one was sitting silently on Earth, like it had never left. Serix spoke quietly. Try to hail it. Use all frequencies. They did. No answer. Only static. And then the main screen turned black. A face appeared. A human face. Old, scarred, wearing a strange armor with no rank markings. His eyes were glowing faintly red, and he spoke slowly. You were told not to come. The ship shook. Lights flickered. Who are you? Serix demanded. You are supposed to be extinct. The man on the screen smiled, but it wasn't warm. Extinction is a choice. We chose silence. You chose arrogance. Then the feed cut. And the object near Earth lit up. Not just with lights, but with life. The scanners screamed as the massive object rose from the surface. Earth's crust cracked around it. Lava spewed. Oceans pulled back. The dreadnought lifted like a titan from slumber. It was not old. It was reborn. Red energy glowed across its hull. New weapons shimmered into place. A shield bubble formed that bent space around it. And then it locked onto Zarkon-12. Captain Serix stood in horror. Get us out of here. Too late. The human dreadnought fired. No visible beam. No sound. Just sudden, total erasure. Zarkon 12 vanished, like it had never existed, across the galaxy. In the Zarnak capital, the signal returned again. Only now, it wasn't one word. It was a new message. Judgment has begun. Panic spread through the Zarnak Senate. They scrambled for answers. What did we awaken? What does judgment mean? Only Commander Veltrix stayed silent. He remembered something. An old Terran warning from the first contact war buried. In forgotten archives, a phrase written in blood across the hull of a destroyed alien flagship. Let the stars forget us, or we will return and remind them why they feared the dark. Back near Sol, more Zarnak ships arrived. A fleet of 20 cruisers, expecting an easy mission. They found debris. They found silence. And then, they found it. The Terran dreadnought was waiting, not running, not hiding, waiting, and as they prepared weapons, the human ship sent one final transmission. You challenged extinction. Now face survival. The sky burned. The war had begun. The ancient Terran base under Mars was silent for hours after the Zarnik ships landed. The soldiers stood in formation, unsure what to expect. Their weapons were ready. Scanners were active. But the giant black door leading underground did not move. Commander Krell, leader of the Zarnak ground forces, paced slowly in front of the door. "It's a trap," he muttered, "or it's dead." But just as he turned away, the door began to open. There was no sound, no mechanical grinding, no warning. A massive steel slab simply slid aside like air itself parted. Inside was darkness. And then, light. A blue glow poured out of the tunnel, cold and pulsing. It moved like a heartbeat. The Zarnak soldiers raised their weapons, but no threat. Came and then, footsteps echoed. A single figure walked out of the tunnel. It was humanoid, tall, dressed in sleek, pitch-black armor that shimmered with shifting symbols. Its face was hidden behind a helmet with a glowing blue visor. No one could see its eyes. Krell stepped forward. "Identify yourself." The figure stopped. Then, in perfect Zarnak speech, it said one word: Terran. Every Zarnak soldier froze. Terran continued walking, not rushing, not hiding, just moving through the soldiers like they weren't even there. No one dared stop it. Krell stepped aside without even realizing it. Behind the first Terran, more figures appeared. Dozens, hundreds, all in armor, some taller, some carrying massive weapons that looked older than the Zarnak Empire itself. They marched in silence, discipline, precision. A Zarnak scientist scanned one of them. His screen overloaded. Symbols he couldn't read flashed across it. He fell to his knees, shaking. "It's not possible," he whispered. "That armor, it's made of dark steel. That metal hasn't existed for 10,000 years." One Terran turned to look at him. The visor blinked once. Then it turned away and kept walking in space above Mars. Commander Veltrix watched the feed from the surface. "They're back," he whispered. A communication alert flashed. It wasn't from his fleet. It was from Earth. No. Not Earth, something deeper. The signal came directly from the Soul Core. Defense network, a system believed destroyed centuries ago. It was fully online, active, and angry. The message was short, galactic. Violation detected. Retaliation authorized. Defense protocols unleashed. Veltrix's crew stared at the screen in horror. The galaxy's most feared defense AI had just spoken. A system once used to burn entire armadas from the sky. How is this possible? One officer shouted, "It should be dead." Veltrix didn't answer. His claws dug into the armrest. Moments later, the Martian ground cracked. Giant platforms rose from the planet's crust. Ancient towers, weapons that looked like cities, lifted into the air. Energy spiraled through them, and old symbols, Terran runes lit up across the surface. In orbit, the Zarnak ships tried to reposition. Too late. The towers fired beams of white energy straight into the sky. One Zarnak battleship vanished in an instant. No explosion, just a blinding flash, and then nothing. Another ship tried to jump. Its drive overloaded and tore it apart. Veltrix gave the order to retreat, but the system was already locking them in. "No one escapes Sol now," the AI said across every open channel. "The vault is open. The Guardians have returned." Back on Mars, the lead Terran reached the top of the rise and turned toward the Zarnak soldiers. He lifted his helmet slowly, revealing a human face scarred, cold, ancient. 500 years? He said. His voice was low, steady. You forgot who we are. You thought we were gone. He raised one hand, and a hologram of Earth appeared. Above it, green, blue, alive. You've invaded our home. You woke up something far older than your empire. The soldiers stood frozen, paralyzed by fear. He looked them all over once more. Tell the stars, Terrans are awake now. And with that, the Guardian army marched forward to war.